Stacey-Ann.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right. So, can you share your fertility journey before FTF? Like, what were you told about your tubes?
Basically, I have been trying to conceive for a few years now. And when I first went, after because I'm married, so with trying, nothing worked. I went, they did the HSG, and they told me that both tubes were blocked. So it's blocked where at the most sensitive parts of of both tubes, and that there was a possibility that if it doesn't clear up or if it's not removed, I may lose both tubes.
Right. And so, how did that diagnosis make you feel? And what had you tried before this?
Over the years, I have tried like I've tried. Well, I normally use the castor oil packs, so that's
Mhm.
something that I've always done. But it was just that I would drink like herbal teas, and that's basically it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
And how did you feel when you discovered when they told you that your tubes were both blocked and there was no other option?
How it made me feel?
Yeah.
Well, it was pretty. It was heart wrenching. It was heart wrenching because as a female, and over time, you would want to conceive. You'd want to
Right.
conceive. So it was heart wrenching just knowing that I'm going through this process without any great insight. They told me that the only option that I had was to do the implants, because of both tubes. But I just knew that there had to be another option. So it was
Yes.
heartbreaking. It took a toll on me. I was mentally strong, but I had moments where it was devastating because not that person would say to me, but I know that some may look at me as barren, unable to carry a child, all of that stuff. So it really did hurt my feelings in a sense, but I had great support, so
Oh, great.
I was
Okay.
mentally strong.
Good, good. Yes, it's so many women are so devastated by it, and there's actually been a study that um, diagnosis of infertility is just as devastating as HIV diagnosis or heart
Mm-hmm.
disease. It's so
Yes,
it's so underrated, overlooked within the medical community.
it is.
So,
It is.
but I'm so glad that you had an intuition that there had to be another way.
I did because I was always doing with faith, and I
Right.
just had this instinct because, I believe that there is always a solution to everything, right?
Mhm.
So I used to pray about it, ask God, and then your video just popped up, and I was like, I watched it. At first, I was a little, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I spoke to my partner about it, and I just decided that what, I'm just gonna give it a try, and that's what I did.
Oh, awesome. So you saw my video on TikTok or Facebook or
I
and
think
then
it was, I think it was Instagram, either
okay.
Instagram or TikTok, one of them. But I think, 'cause you know how the algorithm works. So
Yeah.
because I'm constantly, because I'm a type of person, like I do my research at a certain
Yeah.
time, right? So I think it was maybe a night because I'm always like researching like methods and remedies and stuff. So it popped up. So I guess the algorithm kind
Yeah.
of sensed that I wanted a solution and it directed your
That is
video to
awesome.
me.
Yeah, you gotta love that algorithm sometimes. Sometimes it's a little scary, but
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
definitely. That is so awesome. And so now, so how important do you feel consistency was in your results with the FTF system?
So how important I feel as if it was the key because
Hmm.
everything worked together. Because like I mentioned, I used to do the castor oil pack before,
Mhm.
but it, it was just, I was just doing that and then taking my regular supplements and teas and stuff. But when I realized that you had a formula, and then you incorporated the exercises, the massages and everything, I made sure I did all of that. So I think it was
Awesome.
everything that combined. Because even when I used to do the castor oil pack prior to, meeting you,
Mhm.
I never did any abdominal exercises. I never did that.
Right.
So I
Right.
feel
And that's
like
very important. That
it is.
manual manipulation. It really is.
Yes, yes,
If there's a
yes,
1-2 punch, that's definitely number two.
yes, yes. And then with the exercises and all of that stuff, And then doing my normal day-to-day vitamins and supplements and all of that stuff. My vitamin D, I made sure I take that. And one thing I did incorporate too when I was exercising, wherever if the sun was out, I would probably have my belly, my tummy out, because you said to be very intentional, and I made sure. I mean, I had the mindset, but I was intentional, so I would just be glooming in the sun and just,
Yes, I love that. I love that.
yes.
And so how long were you on doing the FTF system before your HSG?
So I bought it in December. I don't remember the exact date, but it was in December.
And so about 4 months?
3.5. Yes, just about.
Wow.
It was late December, so I would say 3.5, 3 months.
Wow, that's awesome. That is
Yeah.
great. Yeah, 3.5. That is awesome. Because
Mhm.
normally it takes well, now it's taking 3 to 6 months. It was taking 3 to 9 months, but with the liquid herbals, because I used to sell
Yes.
capsules of the formula. And with the
Oh,
liquid, it's really a game changer. It's bringing
yes,
results so much faster. So that is so encouraging.
it is. It is. And I actually prefer the liquid over any other supplements. I love the fact that it's liquid. Well, the bottle with what's it called, the serpentine?
The
Or,
Serpeptase, yeah?
yeah, the serpentine. That one, yes, I do take it, but the liquid is a game changer.
Yeah, it is. It's just so much more potent.
Yes, Formula
And
One and two.
yeah, and so when you got your HSD, your follow-up, the one you just recently had, what happened during that test? Like what was different? I think the first one you said was very painful.
Hmm. So the very first one that I did, my body rejected my body. I think it probably went into shock. So it rejected it. So it pushed the equipment out, I believe, and they
Wow.
reattempted, but the pain was excruciating, so it never worked. And then I could see the dye. So when they tried, I could see the dye fill up, but it never went through the tube.
Right.
So I thought that, and I thought that they could try again, but they said it was, you know, it's just blocked. So at
And-
that moment, they couldn't try again. So I left devastated. It was emotionally devastating, but it is what it is.
Right. And so how was it this last time? So did the dye go through easy and no pain or?
So this last time, it's funny, right? The lab tech, she had mentioned something. She said, because I know how excruciating the pain was the first time, the lab tech, when I was prior to going, because they do a follow-up call, she told me if it is that I'm not as tolerable to pain, I can take Tylenol. So I said, you know what? On my way there or right before I leave, I'm going to take some just in case. And I did take two just because. And I did it. And I feel like that helped as well. So
Mhm.
I barely felt anything. But if I was supposed to feel anything, that prevented me from or putting my body back into shock. So I thought about that.
Yeah.
So leading up to the day, I took a few tablets. I went there. The tech was very, very, very professional. She said she's going to do her best, and they can't
Uh-huh.
tell you. They can't tell you, but they can't tell you that it's unblocked. But I could see it, and
Yes.
then when they gave me the code to go and look at the images, I was overjoyed. I cried in the car. I screamed. I was like, "What?" I was in
Oh,
disbelief. I was in disbelief
oh,
because it's over 10 years.
right.
I was in
Wow, that
disbelief.
is so awesome.
And they were telling me, they were wishing me all the best. They were like, "Oh, let me know when you get pregnant," you know,
Uh-huh.
all of that stuff.
Awesome.
So I knew they couldn't tell me, but they were like, "Go home. Once your cycle stops, start trying. Everything is gonna." They were pretty confident, like, "Girl, you got this. It's time."
I
So
love that.
their excitement, without them saying it, I knew that it was clear before I even checked it or before my doctor even told me because they were pretty excited themselves.
Right. And so did they know anything about your history with blocked tubes before this?
I did tell them. I told them just because you have to when you're filling out the form and stuff, I had to give them a history. So even when I was about to do the procedure, they asked me when was the last time, all of that stuff. So I
And were
did
they
tell
surprised
them.
that your tubes were now open?
Repeat that.
I said, were they surprised when they found that your tubes are now open?
Oh yes, that's what I was telling you. That's why I guess that's why they were telling me. They were pretty excited to say that they did
Right.
that. So based on the conversation, I said to them, um, is it cleared now? because normally they say go talk to your doctor and stuff. So I said, can I see the images? She turned the screen. I looked at it. I saw that the dye had spilled through, and it was just splashing all over the place. So I was like, well, I said, does that mean that it's cleared? She said, I cannot say, but what I'll say is come back and tell me when you're pregnant. That's all she said to me. So I was like, that's the indication that everything is well.
I love
I
that.
said either one or two. She said she kind of winked at me and then smiled, because they're not supposed to tell you. Your doctor is supposed to tell you,
Uh-huh. Oh, that is so awesome. All right, last question here. So, what would you say to a woman who's been told IVF is her only option or is unsure about starting FTF?
What I would say to somebody going through this or looking to explore other options, don't give up. Don't give up. Trust your intuition. Don't give up. Do your research. And I would say give the FTF system a try, primarily because, even if it doesn't work in the first round like it did for me, just keep going because, God gave us everything that we need on this earth. And because of that reason, you have to just trust the pressure. This is an all natural remedies. So trust it. Don't give up. Just keep on trying and it will work out for you.
God willing. I love that so much. Thank you so much, Stacey-Ann.
You're welcome.
All right, so that was it. And I appreciate you. And you are just awesome. And I can't wait to hear your great news. So make sure I'm like one of the first people you tell, please.
Whenever that happens, it most definitely will. I'll keep you guys posted.